So, welcome to today's free webinar. We're going to talk today about cleaning up your timeline for the next year and beyond, but also from a dimensional shift standpoint. You see, right now, you're living in a dimensional soup, so to speak, where every single day your reality is shifting laterally, left and right, into nearby parallel realities where things are slightly different. Often it's imperceptibly different, so you won't notice because everything is almost the same. Sometimes it'll be huge if you've just received group energy work or participated in group energy work. Sometimes you'll notice, oh my goodness, this is a massive change, but it's pretty rare. And when that happens, there's a tendency to try and justify it in your mind. Have you ever had that happen to you? Where something shifts and you're like, oh, I must be misremembering it, or it must have always been this way, so on and so forth, right? Well, it's not that it was always that way. It's that you dimensionally shifted. And if you start to pay attention to when you dimensionally shift, you'll find that it happens more often than you think. Now, the big, powerful ones are more rare, but the subtle ones are happening all day long. You can't even make it not happen. So, two things we're going to do today. One, we're going to put on a little boat engine. It's going to go put, 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 and it's going to push us into better realities at a gradual, slow pace. But it very much is the turtle wins the race in this case, because that's actually one of the, if not the most powerful way to completely improve your life, is to just continuously move in that direction. So basically, what you're doing is you are applying a force vector sideways, right? And it is moving you laterally sideways into a better reality gradually over time. It's going to move you into a slightly better reality immediately, and then better and 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 better. And while it might not make a huge difference in the next 5 minutes, it might make a difference by the next hour or two. And then if you keep it up, it'll make a massive difference. So we're going to do the engine, and we're also going to do quantum jumping, right? Bert Goldman, who passed away a little while ago, a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, used to teach a course called quantum jumping. And this isn't exactly the same as that, but it's the same concept that you can basically tap into a parallel dimension where different things are true and intentionally move towards that dimension. I haven't been able to jump into a dimension where I'm a concert pianist, but maybe there's a concert pianist somewhere who did. But here's the thing, that concert pianist doesn't remember that concert pianist was an energy working plumber before, because once you're a concert pianist, you've been a concert pianist your whole life. Are you following? So if you completely change your reality, you won't remember. So I actually have a question for you, and I'd love it if you hit the raise hand button for this one. Let's say you could have a massively better reality. Let's say you could have a massively better reality, but not remember that you were in a worse reality. Would you still want to be in that massively better reality? Show of hands, right? Okay, so quite a few people would be happy to be in a better reality, even if they didn't remember. Now, what happens to me as a professional energy worker is I put my client into a massively better reality, and they have no memory that I did that for them. And you just have to deal. You just have to be like, all right, well, this is the reality they're in. I once had a lady call me up, book a session for her son. And I think I told you this story before, but I'll tell it again because it's very fast. And she had heard of a dimension shifting process specifically designed to make you a wealthy person that I had taught offhand one week in my Quantum Touch Level 1 class. And her friend had attended the Quantum Touch Level 1 class, not her, but she was an energy worker and she learned it secondhand from her friend. She did the process. And then after doing the process, she booked a session with me. And one of the things you're going to get as you get better and better at energy perception is the ability to sense what the timeline was before. And also an easier time finding timelines. We're going to search for timelines together here in a minute. And this lady booked a session with me, and I worked on her son, and I had no idea that she'd done this process. And I'm working on her son, and she's in the room off in the corner, and I'm working on her son, who's I don't know, a teenager or a young teenager. And I'm working on him, and he's kind of like laying down. I'm just on Zoom. I'm working on him, and remote session. And afterwards, he feels better and things are going well. I'm like, okay, great. She pops on camera. She's like, okay, thanks so much for working on my son. By the way, I would love it if you could really teach me well that process to dimensionally shift that also turns you into someone wealthy. And I said, oh, how'd you even hear about that? She said, well, my friend attended your Quantum Touch Level 1 class. And so I did the process, but I'm sure it didn't work. And I'm looking and I can see out the window behind her. And I know that she had told me that she lives in Westwood. Now, Westwood, California is a neighborhood where there aren't really houses that are less than $1.5 million, and most are more like 2.5. And she's in a 2-story house there. And I can see out the window a brand new that year model year Range Rover, which is like $120,000 car. And there was a Tesla next to it, a Tesla Model S, which is the expensive one, which is like a $90,000 car. And I'm sitting there and I didn't say a word to her. I just thought to myself, lady, you already did it. And it worked. And you have no memory of who you were before. And so I sensed into the reality stream, like, who was this lady before? And she was living not too far away, just a few miles away in Los Angeles, in the middle of Los Angeles, in a much more humble neighborhood. And she drove a much more humble car. And that's who she was when she did the process. But because she shifted to a different timeline, her consciousness moved basically to a different body. And so this is going to sound totally out there. And I do not care if you believe me or not about this stuff. You can throw this out the window, nor do I have proof of any of this. But this is what my intuition says, right? Is that she had already done it and it had been successful. And there she was, right? So she had, in this case, the same kids and everything else, and they all moved with her, right? But some people get fearful about this. But all I would say is that whenever you add energy work to a process, you're increasing the vibration, so you're making it better. You're never making it worse, right? You're never ever teleporting yourself into a worse reality. People are fearful of that, though. I get it. And I would say that if you are in a state of worrying about how things work out for you, come to my 4-day yin energy healing class. Shameful plug. However, shameless plug, not shameful plug, shameless plug, because when you get that emotion processing down, you will dissipate any fear. And when you're out of fear, it makes things go even better. Okay. So yeah, no, you cannot screw this up. You can only get better. And no, you're not going to end up with different children or, no. Is it possible to dimensionally shift in a way that would do that? Possibly, but I would say that would be a negative movement, right? And you would have to be doing really, really weird stuff. I've never, ever seen that. I've seen thousands of dimensional shifts, like significant ones in my career. I've never seen one where someone had a different family and stuff like that. I've never seen that level. And I think that's partly because those soul connections endure beyond the current timeline slice. You guys are an energetic soul family. So when you shift to a timeline, your kids and your spouse shift with you to another timeline, right? Now, the area that I think it could potentially be a little different is if you were not connected with someone yet and you were thinking about, let's say you were in the process of courting someone and you did a dimensional shift, might you end up with someone else, maybe someone better? Sure. But once you're already married and have kids, you've now made that soul connection, which I believe endures, and you all shift laterally together. So we're going to sense into that. So first of all, though, what's the engine? What's the gentle little engine, right? Chug, 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 chug. It's very simple. It's joy. To some extent, it's gratitude as well. I think of gratitude as like an umbrella, because gratitude's great, but what do you feel when you're feeling gratitude? You're feeling happy. You're feeling joy. So just feeling happy and positive and joyful, right? Um, yeah, it was happy and joyful, so on and so forth. So yeah, um, that is the engine. So it sounds too easy, right? I'm just going to be happy and I'm going to dimensionally shift 100%. In fact, you are all day long. Here's how it is. Here's how it works. You're going throughout the day, you're moving along your time stream, and you're feeling happy and you're moving better. Now you're feeling terrible and you're moving worse. And now you're feeling happy and you're moving better. Now you're feeling terrible and you're moving worse. And they talk about this in terms of manifestation and things you attract. I do understand that that also works, that you are a vibrational match to the things that are coming to you in your life. But I also think that it's not just future things that are coming to you. It's not, you're not, the classic example is, I want a red Ferrari. And you imagine yourself holding the red Ferrari, and then the red Ferrari, you somehow end up with a red Ferrari. I get it. And that does work. And you can pull things into your life from the future that way. But if you want to laterally shift, I'm going to say it, you can also change your past. And sometimes you don't even need to change it in such a huge way that it affects your mind. You don't have to do it in a way that really alters your reality. The first time I noticed this happen, really carefully noticed it, was the guy who'd been in a car wreck. And then afterwards, he'd still been in a car wreck. He just had been in a less serious car wreck. And that I see all the time. At the end of a session, somebody leaves and their original thing just wasn't as bad to begin with. So part of it is energy work that improves what they're doing now and makes it better. And part of it is they just shift laterally into a reality where it wasn't as bad. There it is, right? Okay, so let's start the process. First thing first, let's start the sideways engine. Then we're going to crank a bunch of energy on ourselves to raise our vibrational frequency. And then we're going to start laterally shifting. By the way, when you're doing energy work, you're laterally shifting all the time. And when you're doing great energy work and feeling positive, you're laterally shifting in the right direction. So you want to make sure that you feel positive 51% of the time. That's all it takes. So that you're always moving into slightly better realities and not slightly worse. You want, as overall, you want to be moving into slightly better realities. The first thing you do is just hold a slight smile. And that slight smile starts to release serotonin and dopamine. Okay. And then you start doing energy work while holding a slight smile, right? Go ahead and inhale, feel your body. Put your hands on your chest and then down your arms. Somebody asked, would your family not notice the shift? People who are close to you, they will, they may notice the shift. Go ahead, inhale, feel your body. Lots of body awareness. Exhale, feel your arms. Some your family members and close friends might notice the shift right when it happens. And one of two things happens. They either forget the old reality within about 30 to 45 seconds, or if they're somehow able to remember it, they will convince themselves through gaslighting themselves that it was always that way and that they're misremembering it. And so the key to getting really good at noticing this, here's the key, you dear people, is to refuse to gaslight yourself. Just don't do it. If you see someone's reality dramatically shift and you remember a different past for them, don't convince yourself that you're wrong. Don't talk yourself out of it. Be like, oh, I noticed. And allow it to gradually shift your subconscious mind. Because when you become more aware of this on a subconscious level, it actually gives you more control. The reason this all works, we're all one consciousness field anyway. And all reality rests on the smallest particle, which is a consciousness particle. Go ahead, inhale through your body. Down your arms to your chest. Fire breathe. You guys all know how to fire breathe. Here we go. Feel your body. Down your arms to your chest. Let's bring that slight smile back. Fire breathe again. Feel your body. Down your arms. This call is sponsored by Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. Just kidding. I just happen to be drinking that. Fire breathe again. Hold that smile. It does make you want to laugh. Feel your body, down your arms. Actually, at the end of this call, I'm going to play you a little video if you're willing, which is this super well edited video that some people made for me about a course that I'm teaching. But it's like the best video I've ever seen to talk about a course I'm teaching. I'm agnostic. I'm happy if you register for the course, but I kind of just want you to see the video. It's got like background flowers and all kinds of images, and it's talking about time healing down your arms, which is an important teaching. So I might fast forward the first part. I'll fast forward the sales pitchy part and get right to the time teaching. Down your arms to your chest. Here, I actually just popped this into the chat also. Down your arms. Fire breathe. Feel your body. Feel your arms to your chest. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay. Now, if you were doing that quantum touch style, let's switch to bow healing style, which I find to be more important, partly because I don't have to change directions as many times. I'm still moving life force energy the same way they did in Regenesis, the same way they do in quantum touch, but I'm using different body parts. I'm skipping the legs. Part of the reason I'm skipping the legs, wow, that's awesome. I wish I had a video editor to take that out. Okay. Sorry about that noise. So the reason I skip the legs is I think that it ungrounds you to constantly be lifting your legs off the ground by feeling your feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs. I think that ungrounds you a little bit. I like to ground. I like to do the opposite. I like to feel the hips to the thighs, to the knees, to the calves, to the ankles, to the feet, and ground my energy. That's what I like to do. So when I'm doing energy work, I still do an upward motion from my root chakra up my torso and then up behind me. I pull back the bow, stretch my lungs with a big deep breath, then feel a stream of energy about that wide, about 2 inches wide down the center of my arm. I find it slightly more powerful. Well, actually, notably more powerful. And other people report the same. So here we go. This time, say my heart center right between your hands. Hold that slight smile with me again. Begin by feeling right where you're sitting on the chair. Go ahead and inhale with me, feeling your body with a ton of awareness. Here we go. Draw your awareness up and behind you. Exhale, feeling your arms. Say my heart center. There you go. Let's try it again. Inhale, feel your torso only, and then pull your awareness up behind your back. Down your arms. Gentle fire breath. Inhale, feel your body. Behind you. Now feel your arms. I'll answer those questions at the end. Fire breathe. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. My heart center. Excellent job. Okay, now put your hands back on your chest. Now this time you have to make the corner a little bit. It's a little bit tighter, but we'll try it anyway. Go ahead, inhale, feel your torso. Exhale, feel your arms. Inhale, feel your torso. Exhale, feel your arms. Inhale, feel your torso. Exhale, feel your arms. Great work. Okay, so now you're going to feel the sensation of your entire torso a little bit more slowly, and we're going to move your awareness down to your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is right below your heart center. Some of the energy is spreading up and down now anyway. Picture your solar plexus there is right where your rib cage comes together. So just feel for your rib cage if you don't know where it is, and then find the spot where it comes together. And a little bone right there that kind of sticks down right between the ribs. That's your solar plexus. Put your hands like this in points, or you could do palm over palm. Points to the solar plexus. I'm going to use points. Go ahead, inhale, feel your body. Down your arms to the solar plexus. Fire breathe again. Inhale, fill your body. Down your arms to the solar plexus. Fire breathe again. Inhale, fill your body. Down your arms to your solar plexus. You're doing great. Do the fire breaths with me if you can, because they're also going to raise your vibrational frequency and make the dimensional shift a little easier. Here we go. Inhale through your body. Down your arms to your solar plexus. Great work. Excellent, excellent work. Okay, feeling better. If you feel like there's a chakra that you need a lot of, pop it in the Q&A thing and we'll include that. I'm going to include root chakra for prosperity and grounding, and then we're going to do a little grounding and then we'll kick off. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Grounding wise, I was about to do root anyway. Grounding wise is will you still be able to dimensionally shift? Absolutely. You can dimensionally shift in a grounded way. So root, we're going to put our hands on the crease of our hips right there. Go ahead, inhale, feel your torso again. Pull your awareness up behind your back. Down your arms to the root. Great work. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms to the root. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms to your root. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms to the root. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms to the root. There you go. It is absolutely spinning right now. Okay. Now we're going to move a little bit of energy down our legs to our feet. So put your feet on the ground. If you're cross-legged, slightly move your, uncross your legs, put your feet on the ground. And now put your hands right at the crease of your legs. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms to the crease of your legs. Then a little bit of burst of energy down your legs, down past your feet. Feel your feet connecting to the ground like magnets. So one more time. Inhale, feel your torso only. Draw your awareness behind you. Now down your arms to the crease right at your hips. Push the energy into your upper legs and feel it flowing down and grounding into the floor. Excellent job. Okay, so now we're going to go to the throat chakra. I had several people request this. So put your hands like this. Go ahead and inhale, feel your body. This also helps with solar plexus. So I'm kind of happy about that request because the solar plexus and the throat are intimately connected. If you can't speak your truth, it affects your personal power. If you're very powerful, you can speak your truth. So here we go. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. This is too tight of a bend for me. I'm going to go to Tyler's spirit throat chakra. You can do the same thing. You can say Sally Smith spirit throat chakra. I don't think anyone on this call is named Sally Smith, but you get the idea. To your own throat chakra. For those of you wanting my hands on camera, they're off camera on purpose. Inhale, feel your body. Hold your throat chakra between your hands. My throat chakra and send and watch it. Feel it there. It's going to come. And again, and down. One more time. To the throat. Now put your hands on your belly. We're doing the sacral chakra now. Right to that second one. Picture it orange and spinning in your belly. Great work. Okay. We're ready. We are ready for our dimensional shift. And now we are ready. So all your important chakras are spinning. Take this, take 2 fingers, 3 fingers like this. Imagine you're grabbing like a teaspoonful of energy from the universe. Just drop it in your crown. Drop, drop, drop. Imagine it spreading out, opening your crown chakra so that you're continuously fed by the universe. By the universe. Okay, let's clean up 2020 next. I'm not going to say the year. because this is going to be a durable recording that you can use at the end of every year to prepave the next year. So next year and beyond, here we go. You're very charged up. Take one hand off to the side like this. Send energy to this one hand using whatever modality or technique you want. Inhale down your arm to that hand. One more time to that hand. One more time to that hand. Now begin feeling sideways until you feel one that gives you a little burst of joy. This first time, we're going to do sensing by just feeling joy. Feel the joy. There it is. Once you have it, send it some more energy. Now you're sending it to that timeline that you just found by feeling joy. If images come to you, that's great. You can feel that sometimes the timeline just starts moving closer to you automatically, like it's merging and connecting with you automatically. And that's fantastic if that happens. Connects to you, boom, right along the center line. That's amazing. Now what we're going to do, and then we're going to clean up the timeline the way we did last week. I want you to close your eyes and imagine that this timeline zooms over to right where you are and just open your eyes in that new reality. So let's try it. Close your eyes. Feel the timeline lock into space with you. There you are. It's moved to you. Feel it locked in. Feel that joy from it. Feel it right now in your throat. Feel that giddy feeling. And open your eyes in the new reality. Look around the room. It's that easy. Now, you don't necessarily know what shifted in this case, but that's okay. You don't have to know what shifted for it to work. You're in a better reality, all of you, slightly better. You don't know how. You may or may not remember. Typically, when one shifts reality, if there's a visible element right by you or a noticeable element, you'll notice a change, and then you'll have about 45 seconds to write it down if you care or want to remember the old memory or the old reality. You have about 30 seconds. Right now, you have about 15 seconds left if you want to remember your old reality, which you don't need to remember, but if you care. Now, what about consciously going towards a reality where something very specific is true? That's different. That's a different process. If you want to do that, you also have to process your resistance to it going there. And also, what is the main number one thing that slows down the progress in the direction of the thing you want, aside from feeling bummed out? If you're feeling positive, it's much easier. The number one thing is that you won't be you anymore. In other words, if it redefines who you are in such a drastic way, okay, for example, trying to think of a good example. If somebody has some kind of like injury that defines them, like the guy that I worked on who was walking with a cane. He'd been walking with a cane for, I don't know, 15 years at least. So it defined him. And after his session, he didn't even really need the cane anymore, but he walked with it for a while. And then he eventually stopped using the cane. But the cane was part of his identity. And the cane existed because he'd been in a car wreck. And so it would have been very difficult to erase the car wreck entirely. Not that that's not possible. I've seen things, entire events be completely erased before. But because he defined his identity around his limp, the best I could do, and I wasn't even doing it consciously at the time, it just happened. The best that he could do, I should say, because I wasn't doing it, I was just offering him a bunch of energy, and back through time. I was sending energy back through time to the event of the car wreck. The best that he could do with that energy was make it a less bad car wreck, like one where he braked 1 second earlier and got hit at a different angle. I don't mean to talk about negative things like that, but the point is his identification with the cane and the limp and the story he had around it made it hard to erase entirely because it would have made him basically go insane. So if it's something you don't care about or don't think about much, it's really easy to shift. If it's something major, it depends on how malleable you are and how unattached you are to the story. I've seen people who are unattached to the story massively change their realities. And yeah, and have massive, massive positive changes happen within a few months. But it depends on how attached to the story. So that doesn't mean it's not worth doing. So let's say you have something you want over here in a parallel reality. You're like, there's a reality out there somewhere. And by the way, we do some of this like circular breathing connection with the future self in the quantum manifestation class that I helped build with Richard a few years ago. He and I came up with that idea. We do some of that, but it's kind of more in a linear sense. It's like, let's connect to the future you where the right thing has happened since now. The difference between what I'm teaching you is I'm not teaching you just about how to swing your future reality, which is important too. I'm teaching you how to swing your future reality and move your past as well. And the past moves much more sluggishly than the future. The future is highly malleable because it hasn't happened yet from your perspective. So you can change the future really easily to where you end up in the right place. Changing the past, though, is more powerful. It's more powerful than changing the future. And it does also happen. It does also work. And again, I'm not attached if you don't believe this, but I believe that we move into parallel realities all the time where even the past is slightly different. Now, there are people who have had major losses that want to not have this major loss. And so they want to redesign their reality to where they didn't have that loss. It's not impossible. They won't remember if they pulled it off because it's such a massive thing. But it's harder because their identity is so entangled with that reality. They're so attached to what happened, to the loss they had, that it's very difficult for them to shift laterally into that reality. I've had at least one event I know of in my life that I avoided entirely. And I just, because I have the ability now to sense alternate realities, I don't even like to think about that alternate reality. But there was at least one injury that I avoided altogether. And that was actually with the help of a super, super powerful student of mine, someone who came to my 6 day course. I don't know, 8 or 9 times they took the 6 day course and they took everything I taught. They took my 4 day yin energy healing immersion over and over again. They were retired. They had disposable income and they just trained and trained and trained and trained and trained. And this guy helped me shift along with some other people into a reality where it never happened. I don't remember it happening, by the way. I just have an intuitive sense. Why do I not remember it happening? Because I'm not in the reality where it happened. Is this sinking in for you guys? I'm in the reality where it didn't happen, where I avoided it. But I have this kind of itchy feeling in the back of my brain that that thing that almost happened, there was a reality where maybe it happened. It was a close call. So every time I have a close call, and I recommend you do the same, I send energy to the close call to make sure it stays a close call. I'm like, ooh, that time that thing almost happened. There you go. No, someone asked me, did the person who helped me remember it? They also don't remember. No, no. And that man actually, that dear, dear, dear person has actually passed on since then. But I believe still helps me from the other side. He was a fan. You get that powerful, I don't know. You end up being powerful on the other side, I guess. No, they also do not remember it. It was mostly one person. and he's passed on, so I can't ask him. Well, I can't ask him directly, but no, they don't remember either, right? So, right, um, yeah. Someone asked, could you write it down before the change and see the previous reality after? I would never write it down before the change. That would probably prevent the change. Don't do that. Don't write down your bad reality before you do energy work on it. That's a great way to make sure that you stay in that bad reality. However, if you pull it off and you're now in a new reality, just every once in a while, if you have a close call, you can just sense, and not every close call is something that happened badly in a different reality time stream, but some of them might be, right? So I have two in my life, and that one being the main one. The other one was I still had the accident, but it just wasn't as severe. But the one where I skipped it entirely, I just have this niggling feeling, right? So no, but what you can do is once it's already shifted, it's shifted. Once it's already changed, it's changed. If you feel like something's changed right that second, you can write it down. Then it won't affect it. But no, you definitely that's by the way, that's a side note. I teach this during level one. Okay, let me give you an example of this. This is actually some good advanced teaching here, and then we'll get back to the energy process. So when I was very early in my career and probably a little bit arrogant sometimes, sorry. Hopefully I'm not as much anymore. I had this client who came to my level one and what was then level two class. At the time, supercharging had been discontinued. And so there was no supercharging class. And I was teaching level one, which is the same level one in quantum touch. And I was teaching what is now considered level four as a 4-day class. And this person came she was 87 years old. Her name was Victoria. And she came with her daughter and her daughter's husband, her son-in-law. And she had scoliosis like this. She was and osteoporosis. She was bent over like the letter C. And she laid down on my massage table the night of level four. And that time I had done the class Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so it was Saturday evening, and she stayed after class to do a session with me. And her stepdad or her stepson and her son-in-law and her daughter were in the room on the couch, and I had my massage table up there. And she laid on the thing sideways, and her spine was so curved that her vertebrae were pushing against the skin so hard that you could actually see the sides of the vertebra. Vertebrae have these little like pokey things in the side. You could see the little pokey things from the side trying to push out of her back, right? And I just, I've just done a bunch. So I just did energy work on her. And I did everything. I did level one. I did supercharging stuff. I did the new human stuff, the heart field that was really powerful. I did the powerful heart field. I did yin energy work, and I was doing curiosity and one technique I invented called curiosity glances. I was doing that. I looked up at the time, it was about 20 minutes in, 25 maybe, just to see how much time I had left. And I looked back down, and her bones had sunk back into her back about 2/3 of the way. And I just kept working this 50-minute session. And afterwards, she got up off the table, and she was 4.5 inches taller. And she was looking me right in the eye. And her shoulders before had been down like this. She was looking up at me like, "Hi, Tyler." And then afterwards, she was like interpersonal power, looking me right in the eye. And I was just stoked. I said, "Come back the next day, come back tomorrow for a setter session." And they did a setter session. And she ended up keeping 3.5 inches of that height increase. So I did that twice. I did that then. I did that again remotely for a lady in New Jersey. Almost the same story, same age roughly. She was 84. She got up off the bed 4 inches taller. Her daughter was tripping out and crying afterwards. So I'm like, I'm God's gift to spine work, and which is, whatever. Sorry about that, universe. Anyway, so this guy came. He's like 91 years old, and he had scoliosis and osteoporosis and whatever. And I'm like, here we go. Crack. Let's take a picture. Didn't work. We got maybe 3/4 of an inch. We were taking a picture every single time before, and it just wouldn't work. It would go 3/4 of an inch. And then it would slip back all the way back, right? He came like week after week. His daughter was bringing him. We found out two things. One, we found out that the energy was being drained out of him when he got home. actually by his wife, but she was such an evolved person. She said, "Oh no, am I draining my husband?" And she stopped doing it. So then he was able to keep his like 3/4 inch height increase after that, but he never got a 4 inch height increase. And I realized something after the fact. We were like measuring his height on the door, making a little line and everything because I wanted proof, the desire for proof. And him, especially as a 91-year-old man who'd been like in World War II and stuff, like that was his mindset. It was too much for him to believe in that kind of thing. So because he'd seen his line on the wall, because he'd seen that, his consciousness was holding himself from having that level of change. So the problem is that when you document something really carefully, what do? You're observing it carefully and you're collapsing the quantum wave into a solid reality. What I just say? You're collapsing the quantum wave into a particle, into a solid reality. When you take a picture of it, you actually want things to be in as malleable of a state as possible when you work on them. You want them to be like in a cloud state, in a mist that then recoalesces after your energy work into a better form. So by trying to document it and take pictures of it, unfortunately, it messes with it. Now, this can sound like absolute BS, like, oh, and a great way to like never document whether you make progress or not. There's still ways to document whether you've made progress or not. Sometimes you can document it after the fact. Sometimes it just is documented anyway. Um, I worked on a baby's hip sockets, and there was a before and after MRI 3 weeks apart that showed improvement that was faster than should have been possible in 3 weeks. In other words, bones don't grow that quickly in 3 weeks. So sometimes you'll still get proof kind of vicariously. So it's not that there isn't proof out there. There is proof out there. But when you lock in, and especially if the person's aware, the great thing about the baby is the baby wasn't aware of a prior MRI because the baby does not know what an MRI is, right? So the baby had no care about that. The parents were just kind of in a state of flux anyway and not really paying attention. So it worked anyway. But if you try to over focus on what the current reality is in order to and then prove that there's a shift, that over focus on the current reality does what? Holds the current reality in place. So I learned my lesson. So here's something that happens in my private practice all the time. And here's my exact script. Someone will call me up. Oh, I've got this thing with my elbow. Here, I don't want to do our session on Tuesday because on Wednesday, I'm getting a deep MRI scan of my elbow and I want to see what's going on first. And then you can work on it on Thursday. What do you think my answer is? Any guess? No, 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 no. Let me work on your elbow on Tuesday before you lock it down with some measurement that makes it harder for me to shift it. And so they usually agree. I work on them on Tuesday. They get their MRI on Wednesday. They go, oh, the MRI says it's not that bad. And I'm like, great. You've now locked in a positive reality. I hope this little last 10 minutes sunk in for you, dear amazing people, because it's super, super, super important. Okay. So, process we just did, we sensed a parallel reality and we brought it over. Now, if you do send energy to the past, it will automatically create timeline shifts, right? It will automatically create timeline shifts if you sense the past. If you send energy to the past, it will automatically create timeline shifts, right? That being said, a lot of times the timeline shifts are not very, very noticeable. And it's a great thing to do. And I do think you should work through time and to the past, and you can do it recursively. You can do it over and over again. It's just, it's just not the topic of today. Today, we're talking about direct timeline jumping, just finding a reality where everything is already amazing, right? Uh, okay, amazing. Amazing. So let's see what else. I'll answer those questions at the end. People are asking questions about courses, but I want to teach right now. I'll answer questions about courses at the end. And I'll show you that video. I'm going to fast forward the marketing chunk and just get to the part with the images because I'm so proud of the video editor. And it's a teaching about timeline work and what you get out of it. So it's very apropos for today. It's on topic for today, or I wouldn't show it. So we just did a reality shift like that. We pulled it closer. Now we're going to work into the future timeline like we did last week. And this time, so just a recap for if you didn't attend last week, that's fine. You don't need to have attended last week. So the future timeline, to send energy, you're going to sense for the timeline in the future. You're going to sense for anything that feels like a bump or a hangnail or something like that. But this time, I want you to sense for cross currents. Now, a cross current is something that can either pull you off track in the timeline you're in or push you into a worse timeline. I've actually never taught that before. Okay, let me give you, this is really advanced teaching and you're getting it for free right now. Cross currents are probably one of my 3 most advanced teachings. Some of the teachings I actually don't have as part of a course. One of the teachings I don't have as part of a course is the point method for healing, which in a nutshell is you have to heal more points per day than get damaged. Sounds simple, but that's how I healed myself. And that's how I've helped people with chronic things. That's one thing that's not in a class right yet. It's not taught in a class. The other one is cross currents. It's not part of any official class. I haven't figured out exactly where to put it. I might put it in my yin class. Probably a good place for it. So cross currents are, let's think about, okay. So I had a friend who was super passionate and super good at movie directing and filming, and actually filmed a bunch of like energy healing launch stuff with me with camera lights and everything, and like studio setup and like indoor and outdoor and video editing, and made these amazing videos for modality launch for me, and was going to go to UCLA night school for film school. Did not get into major film school, but decided to go home to their parents' house, who were Germans and did not believe in anything creative as a career, and then come back to Los Angeles for 2 months. How do you guys think that panned out? You know, anybody want to type in the comments what you think happened? Do you think that person is a movie director now? I'm gonna break the suspense here. Not a movie director now, right? What happened? Parents convinced them to go to law school, right? Which they failed out of. And then convinced them, and then eventually said it would be okay if they became a marketer. And then they ended up going to marketing school where they could still kind of use some of their video editing skills and whatnot. And then now they work for like, I don't know, Netflix, something like that. But they are not directing movies or any of that stuff. This is, by the way, way before AI. And not directing movies, you know, at least for a while. Also was a writer, no longer writing at all, right? Why? Because there was a physical cross current of the parents influencing speech, right? I don't want to get too negative here. It's all good. Life is what it is. This person will learn their lessons and they will grow spiritually from it, so on and so forth. But there's also energy cross currents, and there's energy positive cross currents and negative cross currents. So here's an example: energetic cross current that would also affect behavior, but would also affect vibrational frequency. Okay. And it works like this. If there's something that causes you to frown all day long instead of smile all day long, it's the same putt-putt motor. But instead of going putt-putt-putt-putt-putt, pushing you in the right direction, it's going freaking putt-putt-putt-putt-putt in the wrong direction, right? That's what I call an energetic cross current. And by the way, energetic cross currents, meaning affects your vibrational frequency. You call it a frequency cross current would be another way to call it. To call it that would be a frequency cross current. Is another way to describe it. And then lastly, it's going to affect actions as well. Like if something makes you bummed out all the time, you're going to obviously take different actions as well. So it'll affect you from a future result standpoint. Let's say something makes you if you're not feeling positive and you don't take some positive action, that'll affect your future. But I'm also talking about that put, 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 put negative frequency can also shift your whole reality timeline slightly into a worse reality. And it doesn't matter if it's there for a half day or whatever, but if it's there for weeks and months and years, it can keep pushing you further and further, right? So those energetic ones are really insidious. And the thing that happens to people is they're cruising down. This is my cross current teaching. This is one of my 3 most important teachings. So you're going down the river, and the problem is that human minds have a bias towards things staying the same. That's why when the stock market's going up, people think it's going to keep going up. When the stock market's going down, they think it's going to keep going down because everybody always thinks that everything's going to keep happening the way it is now. And everybody thinks, by the way, the temperature on the planet's going to stay the same, even though it's heating up. They think the temperature is going to stay the same because it's always been roughly like this. And so it's always going to be roughly like this. And they won't realize that like it's changed until it's too hot, right? So or too cold or too windy or too earthquakey or too tidal wavy. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's changing, right? Science says that, but our minds cannot think of it as an emergency because we only think of things as the same, right? So the cross current thing comes like this. You're cruising down the river in your boat and you're paddling along and you're going great. And there's a river coming this way, right? And it's coming right through you. And you're going this way in the river and you're like, oh yeah, well, in like an hour, I'm going to be over here on my river going the same way. And here, meanwhile, there's a cross current coming, right? And there's only 2 things you can do with a cross current. You can get out of the boat and hike across the river carrying your raft and basically avoid the cross current altogether. This is my number 1 recommendation. What would my friend have needed to do to avoid the life cross current? She would have needed to have gone anywhere but the parents' house for 2 months to avoid that cross current. Doesn't have to be Los Angeles, doesn't have to be any, just has to be like her friend in Italy by the beach for 2 months who would be supportive of the directing career, right? That would avoid the cross current. Otherwise, if you're going to have to go through the cross current, what do you have to do? You have to paddle against the cross current. This is not advised. It does work. I mean, it can work if you're really, really aggressive about it, but it's like you end up still being kind of partially off course. It's very hard to apply an equal and opposite vector that is so strong that you end up in the right river on the other side. You can do it, and sometimes cross currents are unavoidable. And that's the kind of thing where like you do a bunch of yoga and meditation and positivity stuff while you're dealing with something like that, or you have something to like, you just have to consciously think, what would I need to do to counteract this cross current every day while it's happening? And you can figure it out. But the most advisable thing is if you see a cross current coming, avoid the cross current. Avoid the cross current. Yeah. So there's also energetic cross currents. So what we're going to apply right now is a positive cross current, a positive vector. We're going to start by just holding a slight smile. And what I want you to do is as we sense for the next year, think of this in the rest of this year and all of next year, I want you to think of any time in the next year when there might be a cross current arriving to your current reality time stream that you want to avoid. And I want you to just very simply send energy to that spot on your timeline. Okay. So we'll do this together. I'll do it with you. Okay. So I was a really long-winded spiel. You guys are very patient. No one hung up. Maybe one person did. That's pretty good. Out of like 160 people. I love it. Okay. You guys are the tried and true. Here we go. Okay. So what I want you to do is take your future timeline. And just like last week, we're going to picture it. I want you to just picture it. Like look up above your monitor for a minute or your screen or whatever, your smartphone. Look up that way and imagine a timeline going that way. Okay. Hang on 1 second. Imagine a timeline going that way that is the coming year. And last week we worked on little tiny bumps and imperfections in there. This time I want you to sense to the sides of it a little bit and see if there's anything larger pushing on it. And then I want you to pull your timeline towards yourself as if you're pulling a thread towards yourself. I want you to sit here cranking energy on it. And when you find a spot that seems like it could potentially contain a trajectory change in the wrong direction, I want you to stop and just crank energy on it, which will raise the vibrational frequency of that junction point and keep you on track. Let's do it. Here we go. Fire breathe with me first. Here we go. And then We're almost done here. I'll answer questions here in a minute. Feel your torso to that first junction. Slowly move your timeline towards yourself. Feel your body. That junction or any further junctions, any cross currents. You're raising the vibrational frequency of that interaction to be more positive. Fire breathe. By the way, if I don't get to your questions, email me here. Or you could send it to tyler@tylerodysseus.com. Fire breathe again. Feel your body down your arms. Find the next timeline. Not the next timeline, the next junction, the next cross current, if there is one. Maybe they're subtle ones. So you're strengthening the power of your resolve throughout the year by doing this. You're pulling the timeline closer. It's moving through you. Keep going. We're about a quarter of the way through. Fire breathe with me again. Here we go. Deep breaths in and out all together now. Here we go. Feel your body. Pull it forward. We're about halfway through. Fire breathe again. Feel your body. The timeline. Fire breathe again. Feel your body to the timeline. Fire breathe again. Feel your body to the timeline. Fire breathe again. Feel your whole body to the timeline. Moving it forwards, find the next one. If you find a juicy one, stay on it for a few cycles. Now inhale, feel your body with lots of awareness. That's the key to drawing in life force energy, is feeling your body with lots of awareness. Inhale, feel your body. Behind you, feel your whole arms on the exhale to that powerful junction. I just found one myself. I found a powerful one. Oh, I know what it is. There you go. Now the rest of the year, smooth it out. And beyond. Good job. Now review it. Back it up. Move it forward. Did you miss any of them? You could start today, by the way. No need to start January 1st. I want you to, let's go back and do today. Today to the end of this year. Great. Excellent. Connect the end of this year to next year. Okay. That was so awesome. Okay. All right, I want to try something here. This is that video I talked about. I'm going to fast forward it once it starts a bit, so bear with me there. And then, because I'm going to get to the good part, and then I'll answer questions afterwards. You guys did so good. Let's see if I can find the good part. Let me see if I can fast forward this a bit. There we go. Here we go. Just the good part. It's only like a minute.
It is the pinnacle of energy work, and it's the full spectrum. In this 20-week course, you're going to learn 6 energy healing modalities. You will not be limited to one modality for every single thing that you want to work on. In fact, you'll have a system for picking which type of modality, which form of energy work to use each time you approach a problem. And often the best way is to approach anything you'd like to solve from multiple angles, using multiple energy healing and energy work modalities simultaneously or in sequence. This will include my very powerful quantum bow technique with extra skills in how to move lots of life force energy, more than any other modality that I know. You're going to learn the heart field coherence, the power of the heart field. We're going to bring in sky energy as well, energy that you bring in from the universe to raise your vibrational frequency. And my very favorite, the yin, the blissful high vibration frequency that you generate through breathing into your pineal gland. And honestly, the next one is maybe the best.
Here we go.
Presence and noticing. During this part, you'll learn how to get so present that you're like the presence masters of today. The ones that are famous, the ones that are known for being so in the now. And when you use those techniques as a healing technique or a way to change your reality and your outcomes, it is beyond powerful. And last but not least, a new approach on how to work on your timeline and on interdimensional energy work. This is how to shift timelines, quantum jump, move left and right into a parallel reality where better things are true for you. And when you know that, you have the secret cheat code to the universe. So join me for my 20-week course. I would love to have you. I'm Tyler O'D.
Okay. So that's my 20-week course. I was trying to stop it before the advertisement there at the end. But my let's see if I can stop the share here. I normally do that kind of stuff. Okay. So the timeline stuff I do in that course is about the sine wave length of time. It's something completely different. I do teach it sometimes as a secret bonus day I add a day 5 to my 4-day yin energy healing course. It's the only time I've taught that before. But what I found, and we've done this together with you guys for free once, there's a sine wave to time. And we have projected ourselves through time. And when you work on time while projecting yourself through time, it's incredibly powerful. Anyway, I was very proud of whoever that video editor was who put that together. Wasn't that awesome? And thank you for sending energy to that video. If you didn't do it right then, I'd be super grateful if some of you guys send energy to that course I'm doing with Shift Network, because I need people to come in order to make it worth my time to do 5 months of training for people. It's a little bit of an expensive course. It's about $1,800. So I'm really excited for that course. And Horia, it's been forever. Send me a text message. You're so awesome. I miss you, buddy. And I might visit your country soon because I'm going to be traveling. So definitely text me. Okay. So some people are saying they already signed up. Great. By the way, let me just tap this in here. Hang on. Wait, no, I didn't mean to do that. Let me do this. If you look in the answered in the Q&A, I don't know if you guys can see this. Tomorrow there's going to be a follow-up email to this, which will have the link again. But if I go here, if I type this answer here, I'm going to put my affiliate link in. If you use that link, I'm sending it right now to Amy N. You can see the answer in answered questions. If you use my affiliate link, I make 2 times as much money. Shift Network pays me twice as much per student if you use my affiliate link to register. So I just put that in there. If you have any interest in coming to that, it's kicking off soon. and it's going to be an amazing 20-week course. I'm really excited about it. So let's, if you're willing. Okay, so people ask me, okay, am I ever going to teach the 6-day quantum touch class again? Yes, I will teach the 6-day quantum touch class again. Let me pause the recording here. Picture the earth between your hands. Inhale and feel your body. Exhale, feeling your arms, sending beams of energy to the entire planet. Go ahead, inhale. Down your arms. Beams of energy to the entire planet. Let's include everyone's parents in this, everyone's families. Go ahead and fire breathe with me. I know we're going long today. You guys are so awesome. Feel your whole body. Down your arms. Beams of energy. Fire breathe again. Feel your whole body. Down your arms. Fire breathe. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms. Fire breathe again. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms. Beams of energy, the entire planet, everyone's physical body for physical healing. Now let's try it for emotional healing. Go ahead, inhale, feel your body. Tons of awareness. If you want to include your legs in this, you can, but make sure there's tons of awareness on that inhale. Here we go. Down your arms. Beams of energy. Inhale, feel your body. Down your arms. Beams of energy. Fire breathe. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. Fire breathe again. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. Beams of energy. Fire breathe again. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. Sending energy to every single human being on Earth. Imagine your energy beams landing on the planet, spreading across the surface and going to every single human being, especially those who need it most. And now let's include all of the animals, to everyone's dear dog and cat. That includes you, buddy. Down the dogs, to the dogs and cats. I'll send energy to my cat too. It's not here. I moved out and had to leave my cat behind. She's very sad. But I'm allergic to her. She's really my housemate's cat. But the cat thinks it's my cat. It's not my cat. She always tells me psychically, I'm your cat. I'm like, you're not my cat. To my cat. To all animals now. Domesticated breeds, cows, horses, sheep, all the domesticated breeds are now all wild animals. Fire breathe with me. Feel your body. To all domesticated breeds. Every single animal. Fire breathe. Feel your body. Feel your arms. Feel your body. To all wild animals, hippopotamus, lions, bears, giraffes, to birds, to seagulls, to cormorants, to hawks, to eagles, to egrets, to sparrows, to chickadees, back to regular animals, to elephants, to hippopotamus, to giraffe. We already did giraffe. To rhinoceros. To all the primates, including us. To all the different primates worldwide. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. Fire breathe. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. Fire breathe again. Inhale, feeling your body. Exhale, feeling your arms. Fire breathe again. Inhale, feel your body. Exhale, feel your arms. Excellent. Fire breathe again. Here we go. Now, every single creature in the water, the mammals, the whales, the dolphins, the sea lions, the sea otters, the orcas, back to the dolphins, more to the dolphins, fire breathe, to the dolphins, and now down to the coral reef, deep in the coral. Imagine it floating up to the surface of all that beautiful multicolored coral. Feel your body, feel your arms, to all the beautiful colored coral. Now all the little fish near the coral, the striped fish, the polka dotted fish, all the fish. And now the kelp forests and algae and everyone, all the beautiful ones, all the algae, and now up through the lakes and rivers, up the rivers, the translucent salamanders, the red newts, all the tadpoles and frogs and the trout and the salmon swimming upstream, and all the beautiful fish and the minnows, and then deep into the lakes, to the bottom of the lakes, floating up to the surface, and now across the surface of the planet to all the orchards and crop fields and bean fields and rice paddies and soy paddies and all the different crops we grow worldwide, and now to all the jungles, to the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, to the entire rainforest in Brazil and beyond, and to all the rainforests in Hawaii, the rainforests in northeastern Australia near the Great Barrier Reef, all the different rainforests worldwide, Fiji, every island nation, every rainforest, and now all the pine forests, and now all the oak groves, and all the redwood forests with the giant 2,000-foot tall redwoods, bigger than a house, all the beautiful trees worldwide, and all the grasses and the steppes, and hold that smile with me now as we come into our landing. All the beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous, glorious, wonderful things. And there we go. Every single creature on earth, every piece of nature, and there she is, the earth. One drop of life, one interconnected life form. And just see her there with her beautiful oceans and continents, and wrap the surface in this beautiful abalone shell. Put another one out 200 feet wide, magenta energy in the middle. Expand your heart field, wave it back and forth with magenta energy, filling it up. There you go. Energizing it completely. Now send her on her way, this beautiful spinning drop of life around the solar system, around the galaxy, and the galaxy, the supercluster of superclusters of galaxies. Thank you for coming today. You guys are amazing.